Alright guys, today we're going to take a look at a playbook that is often overlooked or underlooked every year, and it's the Saints playbook. And today that's going to be our scheme, and the team that I'm going to suggest is the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Green Bay Packers, or any team that doesn't have a running back, because this is a basic 5-wide scheme. So you can run this without a running back because you can get a wide receiver there. So if you have like a Cleveland and you want to get cribbed at running back, or you got like a Chicago, you want to get Hester back there, you can run this scheme with them. Anyway, the audibles here from the shotgun spread, we've got the Saints curl and go. Then we got the close HB wheel from the split slot, I think is what it's called. Let's just go through into formations. The split offset, we've got that close HB wheel. From the gun tight, we've got the Saints spot shake. I-form twins flex, we have the fullback dive. And then from the single back snugs flip, we have the HB wheel. You could do this deep post, but I personally like the HB wheel because of the corner route post combo. You also have a drag, and the HB route is kind of cool and unique. But I might break down the other play too, because you can interchange those two audibles. So that's the audible setup. Now let's go over the depth chart. Basically, all you need to know is this fourth receiver spot. That's where your running back's going to go in this package. So go ahead and make your fastest do that. I have Antonio Brown here for that. And then the fifth one is going to be your fullback. So that's why I've got Heath Miller there for that position. So everything else is pretty much standard. I went ahead and put Plaxico in the third receiver. You could put him at the second. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect the scheme very much. But you can also substitute Sanders in. It's just based on what you want. But Cotry and Burris are better for user catching and catching traffic, and they're just going to make more plays than Sanders will. You see, Sanders has a very low catch rating, and only 83 is not good enough to make up for the 75 catching traffic that he does have. That's just not enough compared to the rest of the dudes here. We're going to have the lowest at 81 catching traffic, but we have 92 spec catching him. We have 91 catching traffic. Everyone is over 80 catch. So we're going to be very good there. You don't need any running back for this scheme, and then Ben Roethlisberger is, of course, our quarterback. And that's all I do. And the formation is the empty wide states, and you got to go over to your package, the right stick, and just flick it to the right until you find the 5 wide receiver package. In the base play, I'm going to give you 3 different base plays you can do with this formation. There's a lot you can do with the 5 wide, and I want to talk about 5 wide as well. So this is going to be a little bit longer of a scheme. Hopefully you guys aren't going to be too mad at me. But 5 wide in and of itself is a monster this year, and it always will be, because 5 wide is a spread formation. There's multiple ways to attack defenses in a 5 wide from a 5 wide standpoint. And here you see, I don't even remember what we called. I think it was that Saints drag. Let's just call a timeout and see what we called. I know the play, but I haven't got the names down because I've only been working on this playbook for a couple days, and I didn't really need that much because I already have the concepts. I'm just applying it to the Saints drags here. As you see, the Saints drags is the first one I'm suggesting. It's probably the best one overall. But if we call 2-man under, one of the best coverages in the game, we're going to go ahead and see here that only one route on this play gets pressed. And that's huge, meaning basically what that means is we only have one person on our team that's going to get pressed, and that's going to be Mike Wallace. In his route here, you can go ahead and just throw it blind, and it's not as good as a stock or as a standard out route. So I'm going to suggest we go ahead and put him on a 10-yard out route, which is an out route, and then you smart route that out route. And you see here, well, they were in zone. It's going to beat man coverage. It's been beating man coverage all year. It's nothing new, especially from a spread standpoint. It's going to beat man coverage. Here we see it. Especially with that trail coverage, it's going to beat it even more. So that's why we have that. And that's going to be one of your later on reads. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to streak Miller because I know he's never going to get pressed. And you could fade him, but I think it works better with the routes if you go ahead and just streak him. As you see, what's going to happen is that middle linebacker is going to be paying attention to that R1 route, and Miller is just going to get wide open. It's a two-man read. So your first read on this play is going to be Heath Miller. And as you see, if they blitz any backer, you'll be able to get him wide open. One more time real quick. As you see, they're blitzing, and we can just pass lead Miller to the left or to the right to get him open. And then the next read on this play is going to be Plaxico Burress coming across the middle of the field. As you see, he's going to kind of sit in that pocket right underneath Heath Miller. It's basically just a high-low read. It's one of my favorite things to do in this game. Because you see, if the middle linebacker goes like that and plays Miller, then what we're going to be able to do is, when the middle linebacker goes and plays Miller, we've got Burress underneath there. And we're just going to, it's going to torch zone. It's not going to light up zone. I'll be honest. It's not going to light up zone. What it's going to do is it's going to dink and dunk zone, so that you're going to get a consistent 5 to 7 yards every play, and they're really going to have to get on touch with their user skills. And the one thing I want to talk about is Cautry's route there. As you see, I don't even have to click on. All I have to do is just throw it, and I have to throw a bullet pass, but I don't have to pass lead it. So I'm just going to stand and just throw this route. And Cautry with that catch in traffic rarely ever drops that route. So that's why it makes this play such a good play, because it's a quick snap read to Cautry right there for that quick user catch for about 10 yards. And then you're going right back to Miller. So if you see them user guarding Cautry, then you're not going to throw it. But if they don't user guard him, as you see, I'm able to complete that almost as soon as the ball's in my hands. But if you do get something like that, you want to go ahead and go to your next read. But if they're not user guarding Cautry's route, then it will be trouble for them. But if you do see someone in the way, then go ahead and progress on. And as you see here, you got Burress and you got Miller. It's a high-low read. So basically, I'm just going to run the play, and I'm going to run through the reads. I'm going to go to the first read first on the first snap. Second read, I'm going to go to the second snap. I'm going to go to second read. Third snap, I'm going to go to the third read. Fourth snap, I'm going to go to the fourth read. And that's about, I don't really call the two drags, it's just a two-man read. So I'm not going to call those both a read separately. They're both kind of one read. So here we go. Okay, so the first time I'm going to throw the snap throw to Cautry. And they were in a zone. When they're in man coverage is the only time I think actually, that's not really true. You just have to read. If there's a dude in front of him, don't throw it. But if they're in trail position like that right there, he's going to get him all day. So it's basically just a quicker way to beat a man blitz. So for example, if they zone blitz, though, you see this cover 3, and I'm going to set up a blitz off his zone. So this is a blitz off the zone. It's going to come right off the left edge. I'm going to show you why Cautry's route can beat zone here. As you see, we see him blitzing there. You can just sit in that pocket right there, and he'll hold on to it more times than not because of his cap in traffic or his catch in traffic. Next read here is going to be Miller, so we're going to go to Miller. You're just going to wait till him to clear. He's going to split the zone. He's usually going to beat man. I want to get a man coverage. Let's get a two-man under. And we'll show you. Again, you can pass lead that to the right. He's going to sit right there. So there's that one, and then we'll go to Burress next. And as you see, the two crossing patterns is basically just whatever one they don't go for. So it's just a late read. They're going to jump one, and they're going to have to wait. You see there, they jump the left one, so we throw the right one. It's just a two-man. It's a very simple read, but it's very effective, and it will be every single year because they have to account for it. This is a scheme. My schemes, at least for the most part, they're not going to diminish year to year. They're still going to be effective every year. So you could probably go back and watch this video in a couple of years and it'll still be effective. You're just going to have to mix up your... so for example, if circles are optional receiver, maybe we put him on a curl in Madden 12, whereas in Madden 13 we put him on an out. But that's really all they're going to change. And here you see the... that time the pressure got to me because they took away that out route. But here we're going to get the out route. It's just a quick read. It's basically just a fifth option. Once you read the other stuff, then once the trail position breaks, he's going to be right there. It's going to time out very well for you. Again, off coverage, you could put him on a fade and snap throw it. That's almost like a back shoulder throw this year. It's about as good as you can get for a back shoulder throw. It's very effective. Here we get the pass lead to Miller. So that's basically what I do from that play. The quick audible up, I rarely ever really, I don't think I've run it yet. But what I would do is I would motion Brown and stand there right there. And then he's going to like come out and then come back in. If you could time it correctly, it could be a cute little play you could mix in. And you just want to go to the left side and mix in some hot routes. So something like this, you could fade Burris, drag Wallace, zig Miller. Cautry's on that post route, that's a good route. And you're going to come in like so. And then if they take that, then you know you have that. But your first read is going to look to see what's going on with that little zig, whatever you call it, route. I don't even know what to call it. And then you're going to go back to the right side of the field where you know your hot routes are getting right about to break. So you're just going to look and see if you can't just get him to sit in there. And if you can, then you're going to throw it. I haven't gotten a good look for it yet. But what's going to happen, guys, is they're going to blitz. So, for example, I'm going to set up another blitz. Because they can't really play coverage D against you, and I'm going to tell you why a little later on the video. But they're going to start blitzing you because they know you don't have anybody to pick it up. So this little swing route now is going to come into play because they're going to cover 3 shell because we've been hitting them deep. But now they know they're going to be bringing pressure, so we're going to come in. We're going to wait, and we're going to wait for them to snap back like so, and then now you're just going to get 5 yards. You're going to dot the blitz. So that's an example of when I would throw Brown's route, basically when there's no flat defender, which is what most blitzes are, especially from a zone standpoint. But other than that, I'm just going to progress to the right side of the field with the right reads. As you see, the drag is going to beat the zone, the zig is going to beat the man, and the fade is going to beat the man as well. It's a simple read of who they're going to use or cover. So one more time, we'll run this. And then the post will be everything. And there you see they're in man, so I throw the zig. For some reason I couldn't throw it, but that's Madden this year for you. Sometimes you can do stuff, sometimes you can't. Here's your zig against man coverage. It's just toast. Man coverage. I'm just going to call it simple man coverage. A basic 2-man under, because you know that is one of the best coverages in the game this year. Even though I personally don't think it is as good as everyone thinks it is, but stock, it's pretty darn good. But you see the zig, he's just going to roast his man. And I think unbumpable, I think that's the key. If the zig is pressed, it's not going to beat its man as much. So real quick, let's go over. There's... one second. Fell asleep and my person I was talking to fell asleep. Okay. So this was the setup. Sorry about that, guys. You know, I was saying that if you call 2-man under and you press the zig pattern, so we're going to put circle on a zig, and he'll get pressed. And watch what happens. He won't get as much separation. As you'll see, he may even get picked here. That time he did get decent separation, but it's nowhere near to the effect of this dude right here, Miller. The separation he'll get. I don't know why I'm not using my strategy pad. I could set these plays up faster. But you see, he just roasts his man. There's no chance of them picking that. So that's the key. It's finding these routes and then concepts and then applying it to a spread field. If I was to use all hot routes on this play, check out what you could do from this. Basically, if I want to come out in a 5-wide, just a standard 5-wide set, check out everything I could do. I could put R1 on a fade, I could put circle on a drag, and I could put X on a streak. Then I could come over to the left side and I could put Cautry on a streak, and then I could leave Brown on a drag. And this is going to beat every basic coverage in the game. The fade route's going to beat man, the 2 drags are going to beat zone, the streaks are going to beat, for the most part, if they jump the drags, they'll beat zone, and the streaks will also beat man. So there's a lot you can do with the hot routes as well from this 5-wide formation. And there you see the fade route. It's just all about making the correct reads. I'll give you the plays, guys, but I can't play the game for you. And that's the thing. Here we have a screen pass, and I want to go over this. I don't run this much, but if you run it to the right, if you motion Brown over, see if he goes over way over. You see how he's going to stop here, so it's like a slot little swing here. That potentially could work, especially against the blitz. So if you're getting blitzed, say they're, and guys, people will do this to you, I'm telling you. So this is one of the best blitzes this year, and it's going to get in, but we'll see. Okay, here it is. And I think it was. All we had to do was hook him. There it is. So this is going to get 2 people free, and I'm not going to do anything to protect myself against it. I'm just going to dot it. So basically all I'm going to do is, you could either motion Wallace over or you could motion Brown over. I'm going to show Brown first. As you see, Brown's going to motion over. He's going to sit right there, and you're going to get that little block there. And a lot of times you can get around it. So let me do this one more time for you. The run audible down. Let's try fading Brown real quick. Just go rogue with it. Snap right behind the dude blocking. And he's going to block his dude. No, he's not. So you have to be on the screen pass for you to block the dude. Now if we do it to Wallace, he should stop right there. Oh, that was bad. My bad. I'm trying to show you that these screens are decent. I don't run them much, but if against, like, say here, off coverage, you have a blocker now, you can potentially get 3 to 4 yards out of it. It's not the best play, I'll be honest, but it's not as bad as everyone wants to say. Wide receiver screens are bad, but they're not. They're nowhere near as bad as people say. But here you can get this right here, where you could have Wallace here, and I would just drag Brown, and you're just going to throw to Wallace. So as you see, Wallace is going to sit back here, and he's just going to come around. And if they're blitzing you from that side, you're going to do a pretty decent job of beating the blitz. So that's that play. Now let's go over the deep pass audible up. And this is one of the best plays in the game because of this right here. The right side of the field is going to beat everything. Let's just show you. We're going to throw it against man first. We're going to throw circle route against man, pass it to the inside. It's going to beat it. That's been beating man all year, especially if it's guys. Again, stock fades are unbumpable no matter what system you're on. So they can't press that route unless they're in a flat. So if you're going to kill man coverage, just period. And then again, what you can do with this, especially if you're on PlayStation, is you can go ahead and put Brown on a fade route, and now everybody's going to be unbumpable. If I remember correctly, they don't get bumped at all. Yeah. And then Burris's route, you can use or catch that. All you're going to do is just kind of just overrun it. So again, we'll show you that one more time. That time no one was even guarding him. And Ben Roethlisberger made another great pass. Real quick, let's get back. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. I would like to get a capture. I know someone commented and told me to get a capture card or whatever it's called, but I just don't have that money right now. Honestly, I just don't. I'm trying to save all my money up for this car I want to get. So, but here you see again, this route, you're just going to kind of overrun it, and the dude won't play it because it's just route anticipation. If you guys know anything about route anticipation, or if you want to know, go check out Calhoun County. He's all about route anticipation, and that's why it's so effective, because you can just kind of make people look stupid. Now what you could do here with Brown is you could motion him in like this, and then right as he sets, snap the ball, and he's going to get a little speed burst, and it's going to make that dude kind of freak out. That time, for some reason, his dude played it, but most of the time they won't. Let's see if I can get that. This is the deep pass audible up again. And then as soon as he sets, we're going to snap it. So we're going to come in, set, snap. As you see, it's going to cut twice, and then see how they just kind of don't play it. So that's why I personally don't like man coverage this year, because there's just so many easy ways to beat it. I mean, you could just pass lead crap and it beats man. Here's a little screen that you could set up, as you saw from the same play. All we did was we put him on a fade, but we snapped it a little early this time. So we snapped it right as he right before he sets, snap, boom, and then just throw it, and you have a little screen set up. They kind of fall back out in the zone. Then you're going to be able to kind of kill him. Another thing you could do is you could drag him. So you could come in like so, and then right as he sets, snap, and you're going to get that quick separation. And then you have Wallace, and you have some blockers over here. Now let's talk about why this play is so good on the right side of the field against the zone coverage. First we talked about the fade, then we talked about versus route. Let's talk about X. X is going to hold that yellow, so we have that little window for Burris. That's why it's so good against zone on that right. That's all you need to know, guys. Trust me. I mean, I wouldn't be looking to throw X at all. I would just kind of throw R1. But if you want to throw to X, I would motion him over. And against man coverage, this dude's gonna, he's just gonna, I'm telling you right now, he's gonna freak out. So snap the ball, wait, and then he just kind of stands there. Did you see that, guys? Literally, he just stood there as we were running that play. And this is a route that's also in the West Coast offense that I run. And I'm telling you guys, it's weird the way that the dude just will stand there. See how he just looks at him, like he doesn't go out for it at all. And what you could do with that is you could make it a curl flat read. So basically, again, we're dragging Brown, motioning Miller over. And as you see, we're just going to have a curl flat read here. Standard cover 3, they're going to jump that flat route. And so most of the time you'll be able to pass Miller open. One more time here, I'm going to go over his zone. So we're going to motion him over. And throw it right there. And he'll kind of, you may have to click on and catch it, but he gets the separation we're looking for from that one route. So again, if you want to throw it standard, leave him in, it's not going to be as good. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. He's not going to get the separation that we want him to get, that I want him to get. So that's the deep pass audible. Play action audible is kind of weird because that dude motions in like that, and then you can't motion. I don't think you can motion anybody at all. Yeah, you can't motion anybody at all from this play. But it is good because you get a curl flat concept on the right side of the field. And what I would do with this is I would just go ahead and fade Brown, and now everybody's unbumpable. And this route to square is going to kind of crush man coverage with a pass lead to the inside. And then this route to triangle is going to beat man coverage, as it's been beating man coverage all year. Pass to the inside, click on, you got to make that catch, Cody. I messed up, and again, guys, that's my one downfall. I have some of the best offensive schemes and thought processes, but my user skill kills me most of the time. But you got to that fade route. If you guys have better user skill, you'll be able to catch that. But all you do is you're just going to click on and just go get the ball. So he's going to wait till he cuts. He's going to cut, and then you're going to go get it. Now, for some reason, on the left side, it's been weird with me these last couple of games I've been running with this. They've actually covered the fade if he's off the line, but when he's on the line, they don't cover it. So what you could do is you could always just drag him if you want as a safety net. Have your little safety read here. It's going to be man and zone on the left side of the field if you pass the down and to the right. But I use drags as safety reads because they are probably the best overall route in the game. But here we'll show you X route. If they're blitzing you, you'll have Miller wide open, and that's going to be your first read every single time. You have to be very smart and very fluent with your reads, and that's what's going to make you really good. And again, your next read is going to be your drag route real quick. So you're going to go there to there, then you're going to go back to the corner route there. I just wanted to go to the corner route to show you it because I just showed you the flat, but the correct read would have been the flat there. So here we got the flat wide open. So now it gets coverage D, because you will see some coverage D when you're running this scheme, especially this part of it. You'll actually probably see a lot of coverage D. So standard coverage D is something like this, and all we're going to do is we're going to call this play, and we're going to pass it down into the inside again to X, and we're going to click on, and they just don't play it, and they have to user guard that route. It's just the way it's just how they're going to have to defend it. But the 2 men under purple, and then what's going to happen now is if they try to user guard that route, we're going to throw it to the other side. So the other post route from circle, pass it down the inside, click on, and make that catch. And that's how I beat coverage D from this scheme, or this formation. Is I'll just come out and I'll do this, and then I'll just wait for those post routes to clear against man coverage, and they'll kill coverage D. Because coverage D usually wants to take away the outside. And again, if they ran a coverage D from a man, then what you could always do is, if we were running our base play, You could always just throw it to square here, right as he cuts, because there's no one there. And, you know. So that's what makes 5 wide so powerful. And then I want to talk about, again, one more time, I want to talk about a couple other plays from 5 wide that you could use. And if you really wanted to, you could put these in your audibles and just run from the 5 wide, which I've actually considered doing a couple times. But the Saints, so the first thing we recommended was the Saints drags. So the Saints drags play here. And then the next thing we want to go over is the Saints seams. And all that this is basically, if the cornerbacks are back, so if they're like this, then you're just going to leave these curl routes. You're going to snap and you're going to throw it to them. As you see, most of the time they'll catch it. Another thing you could also do against off coverage, there's a lot of ways to beat off coverage in this year's game, to be honest with you guys. But another thing you could do is you could go ahead and put them on out routes. So, Wallace on an out route is going to beat man coverage. As I say that, he drops the ball. But it will beat off coverage 9 times out of 10 just from that. But all we're going to do with this play is if they're pressed up like this, then we're just going to put both receivers on the drag routes. No, actually, no, we're not. We're going to put Brown on the fade and we'll put Wallace on the drag. So something like this, you're going to have Brown beating his man with that fade pass. For some reason, I can't catch them today. Good night, I cannot catch my fade. It's a pass lead down into the inside. That may be what I've been doing wrong. Down into the inside, you've got to go click on it, and you've got to go catch that because the route itself, I don't think it will. Let's try it. Let's see if it will. Actually, yeah, it will, I guess. But you'll get tackled. So, I mean, do that at your own risk. If you have the user stick, go ahead and do it yourself. I personally just don't have it right now. But that's that route, and that's your first read. You want to read that every time, because if they don't honor that route, you can throw that literally 9 times out of 9, or 10 times out of 10 if they give you that coverage. But make sure you don't pass lead it outside, or make sure you're going to the inside, because he has to kind of cut it off like that right there. So there's that pass lead. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to look now to the shake route from Miller. So we've looked to the fade. Now we're going to come back right as that. The fade route, the shake route's going to be moving over the middle. And basically, if the user defender is anywhere but that shake route, that's where we're throwing the ball. It's going to be man coverage ridiculously. And now again, zone coverage real quick for you guys. It's just gonna the cut, and it's all about that positioning he's going to get on that cut. He's just going to stick it. There's nothing you can really do. You have to kind of use your defender. But then if you do that, then we have our streaks for Cottrey and R1. You see we're going to be throwing here, and that's going to beat zone. It's also going to beat man coverage, as we'll show you here. Pass it down to the inside, and I made a bad play. I'm struggling, guys, with my user stick today. But as you see, we get that kind of, where they just kind of look dumb. And we'll now go to Cottrey. And you see we can do that and that. So tons of ways you can beat man, tons of ways to beat zone, especially from this one play. And then if all else fails, you could go ahead and just playmaker this drag route upfield against this coverage D. What I like to do, if we're not going to motion anybody, since we don't have anyone standard motioned already, then I'm going to go ahead and take Wallace and motion him. And then let him come over across and snap as he starts to set. And that way he's going to beat his man. So, I mean, you're using the drag concept to both sides of the field. Now against backed up coverage, all we're going to do differently is we're going to put them on out routes. Let me reset that. All we're going to do is put them on out routes, because now we can beat man from the out route concept. That's been very good all year. For some reason, though, you guys may think, I don't know if I just maybe you found something, but if you back the coverage up on 2-man under, for some reason they're actually playing the out route in this game. So you may need to go ahead and go with a curl. like that right there, curl route, because it'll stick. So curl routes are more consistent, but out routes are more of a big play. So it's kind of what you want to do. But anyway, and you could also reverse this order if they're pressed up. You could do outs because that's more consistent. It's actually more consistent against press coverage. Outs are, and then if they're backed up, you could do the fade and drag thing. So if they're backed up, the drag will beat man without even motion in it, because you see how he's already got that position. He's just going to come across quick fast there. So that's that play. I know it's been a lot. I'm probably going to spend at least half this video on this 5 wide because it is that powerful this year. The next thing I want to go over is the Saints under. Do 2 more plays here in the Saints. The Saints slant and the Saints under. And first, we're going to go over the Saints under. This is actually one of my personal favorites because that route to square, as you see, he's going to the 2-window route. So you pass it to the left, and the dude's going to overrun it. So what's going to happen is, against man coverage, he's just going to keep going like he's on a drag when he's really not. He's kind of on a slant. So you could pass lead. So, for example, you can let him kind of stop and then let him go, and then you can pass lead that to the left. Actually, I have to get the separation, though. I think I pump faked it real quick. Come on. See how he kind of freaks out, and then you can just kind of pass lead to the left to get him open. Another thing you could do is if they come up like that, that's when you're going to get the pass lead. If they don't come up, you can hit the hook route. So it's just all about a read. It's a quick read, left. See how they kind of come up, and when that happens, they're going to pick that. But what you do is, because it's a 2-window route, it gives you another opportunity to hit this. So there, and then you got to pass it down the inside. Maybe it's because I didn't. Yeah, you had smart. Okay, so you can smart route it as well if you want. Pass it down on the inside, and you're gonna get that inside position. So a lot of things you can do with that route, especially against zone. That's where it really makes its money, though. Against zone coverage, it's pretty good. It's gonna sit there, and then they're gonna kind of play it, and then it's gonna come across like a drag route. So it's a late read, but it's a very effective one. And then this route to triangle, I haven't really figured out how to do it yet. It's like a weird comeback route. And I haven't figured out a nice pass lead for it. But what you do is, if you throw it with no pass lead, it works just like a comeback route, a standard comeback route. And so if you want to do that, you can. Another thing, I was just going to say put him on a deep out or a fade, but you could also just leave him. And it kind of works the same way because you just can't pass it. You just have to know that going into it. And it is a pretty unique route. On the right side of the field, you have, again, those route combinations. That was the same basic thing from this play. So I'm not going to go over those. I'm just going to throw one real quick just to show you how effective they are. So that's what I do from that play. It's basically the same. It's a lot about the similar. It's very similar to the deep pass audible up, but it's not exactly the same. So I figured I'd show you that. And then real quick, the Saints slant, and this unique slant route from Brown. You see how he kind of comes around like that? Looks a lot like that PA post play we all know and love. Sorry about that little bump. It looks very similar to the PA post play that we all know and love. You can pass lead that route so many different ways. You could snap and throw it. So if there's no flat, snap, throw. And a lot of times he'll kind of just sit in a nice pocket. With you being from shotgun, it does limit you a little bit because what happens is you can't snap and immediately throw it on most passing plays. You have the auto drop back time. But if you pass lead down into the inside, what's going to happen is he's going to beat his man every single time. But most of the times what I'll do is I'm going to make a quick read to the right side of the field to see if I can just throw circle. A lot of times it won't be open. There are a couple times it will be open because they'll be trying to pass. They'll be like doing this. They'll take this dude and shade him inside. So you have now a pass lead up to the outside, and you could potentially complete that. Another thing you could also do is put walls on an out route if you really wanted to. I personally just like to leave him on that quick little streak route, or even drag him. So it's a quick read to the right. then by that time he's breaking over the middle, so I can hit that against man coverage. Also, now you have this corner route that they've not seen yet. So now you're going to be beating them with corner routes. You have to read, though, because what happens is certain formations will cover the corner routes better than others for whatever reason. So see here, he's kind of covered, so you won't want to throw that, but maybe against something like this, he'll still be covered. Let me get an example. That has to be from if you have like a blitz. I think 2-man under covers corner routes, but the other stuff doesn't. Yeah, you see here. So against maybe a cover 1, anything but 2-man under, you'll get that route. So basically 2-man under will beat the other version, whereas that will beat every other man left. So now we have zone here, and you see how that's going to hold the flat, and you're going to be able to get that corner route in against zone. Let's go over to the right side of the field now. Miller's route is unique, and you can just pass it to the right there. He's just going to get that kind of quick catch animation, and we'll be able to do a lot with that. Basically, you make your read here, not there, so you can go right back to that. And it's just a quick couple, 2 to 3 reads that are going to be open all day. So that does it for the 5 wide, and I'll just be back later with the rest of the scheme. Thanks, guys. Alright, so that's it. Again, thanks for watching, and tune into the rest of the crap, or the rest of the